safety advisory work in early October, late September. Our entire office was marshaled on that initiative right through December 31st into January. In other words, I had at least 3 lawyers, countless staff, and myself all working for free for 3 months. I already did the pro bono aspect and will continue to when I think it's appropriate. And with all due respect, Gary, not when somebody asks me in public. What I want to emphasize is that...
Just perhaps let us know what services you can offer. So that
but that's sure, and that's fair. And I want you to know something, that people, of course, after the release of the report, have been calling our office not just on pro bono initiatives, you know, offering serious resources to our firm to work on issues, adversarial issues with school boards. And I want you to know something, because it's being raised now twice. I have declined to act on any issues, paid or not, for a cooling off period of a year after the release of our report. That is, I will not act on a piece of school litigation for a year following the release of our report. It's not appropriate. A year from now, I'll look at it again and make a decision. But I don't think it's right to do this kind of exercise and then take advantage of the attention one receives for a business plan, pro bono or not. So in my sense of the world, from my sense of the world, it would equally be inappropriate for me to go shrink in a hole somewhere and hide once we release the report. That's it, my job is done, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. It's one of the advantages to not being a judge, and that's a reality. A judge, they release a report, they still have to go back and be a judge, and there's very important realities about judges speaking publicly that they have to face in terms of maintaining propriety and independence. I'm not laden with those kinds of restrictions. I'm sure there are those who wish I was. So I speak, and I speak, and at times I'm paid to speak, but the only place the money goes is to ensuring community access to the report. That is, I've declined to accept any monies that are going anywhere other than ensuring community access to a report that we have a concern is not being made available enough. So that's the best I can do. I'm not sure it's good enough, but it's the best I can do.
Thank you, Mr. Falconer. I'm a school trustee in Ottawa. I'm also on our Child and Youth Advisory Committee for At-Risk Youth. And I've been following this issue for about 7, 8 years now. And I want to say, everything you've said is right, except you don't know the effect that you're having behind closed doors. There are a lot of conversations going on, and I'll give you a quick example. After your report came out, the 2 top people in our board right away figured out ways to deny it, how Ottawa was different from Toronto. I overheard them at a supper meeting. That's the first thing that happened. The second thing that happened was, though, that all of a sudden the minister paid for almost all trustees in Ontario to come to a meeting in January to hear about safe schools issues. And she brought in 2 researchers from York University who are doing neurological research. And they basically said, look, when kids are being bullied, when kids are being hurt, they physiologically cannot learn. You school board trustees, you school boards have to get a handle on this. Because we can talk about achievement all we want, but if kids are being bullied in the schoolyard, they cannot learn. Now, I find it interesting. They're never going to give you credit for that flip, all of a sudden the school board trustees being invited to this meeting. But I really think that there's a lot of discussion going on underground, and that there are that people are realizing something's got to give here. And so they're making efforts, and they're talking about the issue, but they'll never let it boil up. So the idea of keeping the lid on it is true. But I truly believe that the reason all of a sudden school board trustees were summoned to this meeting in Toronto and basically presented with this evidence is your report, frankly. And I think you should know that this is going on, that it has had a huge effect, even if the minister isn't talking about it.
Well, that's very kind of you.
No. Thank you.
Just say 2 more.
So I was under the impression that those shared solutions came as a result of you discussing your report.
I would not be able to speak to that. and I could get very self-serving, and I could also get equally cynical. So I will do neither.
Someone in the back? Yes.
Hi, my name is Caroline Smith, but I'm also a trustee. I'm on the Central County District School Board. And I couldn't agree with your assessment of political paralysis more. But I do think that you're leaving out something that people aren't recognizing as the power they do have, and that is the media. The thing that I have noticed over the years, and long before I'm a second-term trustee, so I have been one of those people that deputated school boards, and I have been the reach of the special education parent, is there's nothing worse than seeing people in the boardroom. There is